It's time to pick a side. The border war is on the air with BG and TanMan.
All right, guys, we want to thank you for tuning in. We want to thank everyone who listened and downloaded the border war last week. I want to remind you that we can be found on Twitter at the border war. If you want to tweet at BG, he is at BG_Border War. I am the TanMan. I'm at TanMan3264. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We are on Spreaker. We are everywhere. One place that one of us is not, BG, not here again this week. Just back from Space Force Boot Camp. He's the first one to sign up. So hopefully he'll be back in the studio next week. But once again this week, I'm joined by my good friend, Trommell. How you doing, big guy?
Man, I'm doing good. Doing great, man. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here. Had a great time last week and looking forward to discussing some sports issues that's happening.
All right, well, the big one that has been going on last Friday afternoon, of course, it broke. Another big name, a big superstar in the NBA, once out of his current situation. The San Antonio Spurs, Kawhi Leonard, tells the Spurs, I'm done. I'm out. I want to go to L.A. This one leaves me dumbfounded. I'm at a loss for words here. This is one I thought for sure Pop's going to sit down. They're going to work this thing out. They're going to smooth everything over because that's what Pop does. Pop goes out there, and the story you're hearing is Kawhi said, thanks, but no thanks.
The writing was all over the walls with this one all year, man. I mean, just to hear the teammates, how they came out with such a lack of support of what was going on. Now, I kind of think that they grew frustrated that he wasn't with them, that he could have helped them. That team is kind of shifting to the young team, but we still had the services of those that are used to winning those championships, like Mano, and you had your, Tony Parker, and
guys who are on the way out the door and probably would like to take one more run at it.
One more. So, but hey, I mean, you have to think about it. If you don't feel the way that someone says you should feel, then do you chance your career or chance another injury setback? So the man went to his own personal doctor, and they didn't clear him as quick as the team doctor. Likely so, rightfully so.
Look, I don't have a problem with a guy going and getting his own opinion. This is his career.
That's right.
If he blows out a knee or a hip or whatever the case is, they're going to put somebody else in there, and the world is going to keep turning, and he's going to have to figure out something else to do. So I've got no problem with him taking his personal, his health into his own hands and seeing his own personal doctors. Mm-hmm. But there's no right, right angle in this played by either one of these guys, by the Spurs or Kawhi Leonard. I think it's safe to say that you could look at both of them and go, they could have both done things a little differently.
Right.
Maybe they could have communicated a little better, gotten into a room a little sooner, and worked this thing out. It doesn't have to get to the point that it appears that it has gotten to now.
And not communicating as much with the media as they did. I mean, you're seeing teammates. Tony Parker, my injury was 100 times worse than Kawhi's. I mean,
well, that's what baffles me. The Spurs organization has famously built their whole identity on we're keeping everything in house, and now all of a sudden,
right,
with your with your star, now all of a sudden you want to go out and put things out in the media.
That's right.
Talk about this man and start getting petty and start bickering back and forth, and you want to use the media as that tool to do that. It's a bad move.
It can rub you the wrong way.
It's backfired on him, it appears.
Absolutely. I think in terms of that too, you're talking about the coach. Even Pop made comments. You have to talk to Kawhi and his doctors on that. I mean, it was real sarcastic, kind of underlining, stabbing and jabbing at Kawhi. So, and you never really heard from Kawhi during the whole time.
No.
You never heard.
No.
So that's
and even today, you still really haven't heard from Kawhi.
That's right.
You hear that this is what Kawhi says or this is what Kawhi wants. we still haven't actually heard
from the
man himself.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So what should San Antonio do? They've got a couple options. He's under contract for another year. Yeah, they can make him play it out. I think, they you saw Cleveland last year with Kyrie. He was under contract for 2 more years. They panicked and shipped him out. What should San Antonio do? Should they should they look at moving him? Should they let him play the deal out? I mean,
I'm a believer. If you're not happy where you are, let it go. And that if you're going to force a guy to play, he may not, unless he's auditioning. And his resume is he's got a full run of film,
and he's showing you he will sit.
Absolutely. So
the man will sit down.
So I think here you got to let this man test. Let's test that. Let's get what we can get from him. We appreciate what he's brought to the team and his career here in San Antonio. But if someone says they want out and they don't want to talk to the coach, who's probably the best coach in the league right now, legendary, loved by everyone, just had a very tragic situation happen. If you don't want to sit down and talk to that guy, then you really probably are on your way out. You really want out. So let the man go. Let him go. Let's get what we can get from him now. Because if you wait a year, you're going to get nothing.
You're going to get nothing
for him. And that's the worst move you can make. You can't make that move.
No, you can't let him walk away for nothing.
Right.
There's part of me that still says that man is not turning down $219 million.
But the sources say that they're not necessarily coming in the door with that deal on the table. I mean, I wouldn't turn down how much? $219?
I think it's $219.
I wouldn't turn down either. But if they're not offering, if they want to say, well, look, let's see how things go.
Well, I think that's their only play. If they want to make this thing work, their only play is to slide that piece of paper across the table with whatever the maximum number that the NBA league rules will allow them to write on there, and say, this is what we can give you. Right? I don't see how you don't do that unless you're really that concerned about his quadrant. But it's your people that cleared him. It's his people that said he wasn't cleared.
Well, maybe it's not all about the money for Kawhi. Maybe he'll take that 100 in LA with LeBron. I mean, you got to think about that. 200 to stay unhappy with teammates that kind of stabbed me in the back when I was down. I'm kind of disgruntled right now. Or let's get a fresh new scene, for new faces, new places, big. A huge market, one of the largest markets in the league, and LeBron.
Listen, Mr. Laker man, let me stop this. All right, let me pump the brakes on this train right now. Okay, you can mark it down on June 21st at 4:36 p.m. I'm telling you, there will be no LA Lakers situation that involves LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George. Number one, San Antonio is not dealing him to LA. They are not going to open the door and roll out the red carpet for LeBron James to walk to the Lakers. They're not going to give him a reason, right? So then, one, they're not dealing with LA. And two, now I'm not an NBA capologist. You almost have to have a doctorate degree to figure all of that stuff out.
Numbers.
But I don't believe. I mean, it's hard for me to fathom that, let's say they bring in George and they bring in LeBron James this year, that next year they could also bring in Kawhi Leonard. Like I said, I don't know how that works, but tell me, if you know, explain to me how, if you don't get Kawhi Leonard now via trade, how you could afford the three of them next year.
Well, I'm looking at the roster. The roster is compiled of youngsters, draft picks. You're talking Ingram year before last. You're talking Ball. These guys are on the root. You don't have any max players on your team. You didn't have any max players last year. Mm-hmm. And when Kobe left, all of that money came back to the table. Mm-hmm. So with dealing a guy like Ball, with maybe dealing a Randall, possibly an Ingram, but they don't want to lose Kuzma. They really like that kid. I think you got max dollars that you can bring in for the market alone, LeBron. The market alone, and it's hometown for Paul George. Am I correct? He's a California kid, right?
Yeah, he's from Inglewood.
So
yep.
He's wanting to come home, and Kawhi wants out, and he's talking about, I want to go to L.A. So and you got to understand, this generation is the generation of friends. You know they're texting each other. You know they're calling. Hey, man, let's build this dynasty. Let's do this.
It's all AAU.
That's
AAU
right.
stuff
That's
now.
right.
They're all. Nobody wants to play on opposite teams anymore.
That's right. And sources say though that they shut LA down. That LA contacted the San Antonio and
no, it's not happening. I mean, they will send him to Bulgaria and get a box of oranges for him before they send him to LA. And all these people on TV going, well, they're going to take the best deal and whatever makes the best. Bull crap. But because you trade him to LA, you are done, man. Some organizations you trust to rebuild more than others. Like, I have more faith in the Spurs scouting staff and their front office and Greg Popovich than I do whoever's running the show in Brooklyn, for instance. All right. So I believe that the Spurs, I think they said that 4 times in 50 years since they've joined the NBA that they've missed the playoffs. So I've got faith that San Antonio is going to rebound from this. They're going to rebuild, and I believe San Antonio will at some point in the very near future be back in the mix. And if you get back in the mix, what you don't want is the dude that you had. You don't want that old flame coming by and kicking you in the teeth for the next 10 years.
Absolutely. You know what? The deal is...
And he may wind up there, but it ain't going to be because San Antonio sends him there. If they'll take NBA trades, you never get dollar for dollar value.
True.
So whatever they trade him to, they're going to get less than what he's actually worth. If LA could give him 75 cents on a dollar, they'll take 50 cents on the dollar to send him to Minnesota or Chicago or somewhere else.
So they won't have to sing.
So like I said, he may wind up there, but it won't be because San Antonio opened the door for him.
But look at San Antonio's roster, though. They're young. You got some veterans on the way out the door. You have some really young talent there. Also, you have a Popovich that he's got to have a life-changing situation.
Yeah, he does.
Does he want to coach? Is he still in the mood for coaching?
I think so. He goes out to try and salvage the relationship. I think this is. And it's just a guess. I think this is probably a safe space for him. This is something he feels comfortable with. That he can get away from all the other stuff that personally he's been dealing with the last few months. And like I said, he went out there to San Diego to have the meeting.
So you give Pop about 5 more years with the Spurs? You think he'll coach that long?
Yeah, I don't see a scenario where he hangs it up prematurely. I think he's going to stay through and he's going to
escape from home.
He's going to get away from that, right? And and if they lose Kawhi, I mean it's going to turn into a rebuild mode. There's just no other way around it.
They have the money. They were in the running, from what sources say. They're going to have some talks with LeBron as well. They're in the mood. They can handle some max contracts. They have the money. I think
LeBron to San Antonio was one of the to me is one of the under the radar places that doesn't really get you always hear L.A. Yeah. And now that I trust Woj. I think it's pretty safe to say he's saying wife James says either L.A. or Cleveland. Make a decision.
With the son committing to a high school in California.
Well, that's what they say, but
along with Scottie Pippen's son,
right? But a coach or an athletic director or whoever he was in Houston tweeted out the other day before he got told to take that mess down. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Like they were touring the school at Houston too. And look, the world has gotten smaller anyway.
That's right.
It's really small for LeBron James. He can, pick up and go anywhere he wants to, anytime he wants to. So I don't think that's a big deal. I mean, the wife and the kids want to go to L.A. and
house in L.A. businesses in L.A.
Probably got 12. He's probably got a house down the street here. We just don't know about it. I mean, DMX has a house 20 minutes from here.
Right.
I'm going to float this out to you, man. I believe that the Kawhi Leonard deal is going to shape the future. It's going to shape the NBA landscape for the next decade more so than LeBron James. And I'm going to tell you this. I think LeBron James, where he goes, shapes the today. But I think what happens with Kawhi Leonard and what San Antonio does is going to shape the tomorrow and beyond. Because San Antonio is the NBA's poster child for small market success. You know,
right.
Anytime someone says, we can't win here, this team, they point to San Antonio. Well, San Antonio does it. Why don't you be like, they're like that cousin who has everything. You know, he's got the great job and a beautiful wife and the nicest car. Why can't you be more like your cousin Billy? That's where everybody says, why can't you be more like the Spurs?
Right.
If Kawhi, the Supermax, all of this stuff, the extra year, the more money, all this stuff was created to help these small market teams keep their guys. And if Kawhi Leonard says no to a Supermax, that's going to open the door for other guys to say no to their Supermaxes at their deals. And I think that may end up crushing small market teams in the NBA. What do you think?
Well, I think you have a point there. I do think that if you're talking about the elite small market team, you're talking about the Spurs. I think you have a team that has been modeled even by our current 2 and 3 year champions. I think the Golden State Warriors are just a younger version of the championship Spurs that we used to see.
Mm-hmm.
Clean movement, everybody touching it, no real few stars, but just clean basketball, good coaching, that type deal. With San Antonio, you have to look at the roster. It's half young, and you got about 3 vets that are on the way out the door. Can Popovich survive another complete overhaul? Yes. Does he want to with the success that he's already had? No. I don't think he wants to bring a Trae Young in and deal with that. He's a win now kind of guy. He's used to winning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've never seen Popovich at the lottery, so it's just not happening. So I think that they're going to find a way. I think Popovich is just a man's coach, though. That man says, I don't want to play here. And him and Popovich is powerful, man. You don't just turn down a meeting with Popovich. I mean, that's
my point.
You can become a hated man in the world because Popovich is that loved. So,
right. And that's my point. If we're going to get to the point now where, how many superstars do you think are legitimate superstars in the NBA? 5? You
got about
7?
7 maybe.
All right.
Legitimate supermax guys.
All right. If these guys are going to start, if some of the ones in the smaller markets take Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee, his time comes around and he's going to get offered that whatever the number is at that time. We'll say the 219 just for discussion's sake. If he's going to turn that down to go somewhere else and take less money what is Milwaukee? What are teams like Milwaukee supposed to do? What are teams like Charlotte supposed to do?
The part about it is winning. It's about winning. You talk about small market. Look at the Milwaukee Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Got Greek the Freak. He's been there a few years. He's been the man. They're not winning.
They can't get past the 6th seed in the East. They can't get out of the first round.
So if you offer him that max deal after 5 years of knowing we don't have no personnel, too many, we can't get out. We barely making it in. I think you've made your money at that point if you are that star,
mm-hmm.
right? So if you're a star, you want to win. You want to win. You don't take 219, but you'll take 150 along with some other players and win. It's about winning. This generation is about teaming up. It's not competitive
right.
like
and
it was.
You're gonna put all these teams right back on the treadmill of trying to buy this lottery ticket and hope that they hit the Powerball. When history shows you out of every draft, maybe 3 of the lottery picks, maybe 3, but turn into real stars in the league. Maybe not even superstars, just stars in the league.
But if you think about the small
just
market
back
teams,
on the same wheel over and over again.
The draft grows the small market teams. Look at LeBron. He grew so you
right,
but
right.
It takes so much time. But your bigger market teams,
but as soon as
spending, getting it and winning it now.
The guys that these teams are going to be drafting are younger. Like the first 10 picks in tonight's draft are all going to be 19 years old. All right. In 3 years, they're going to let high school kids back in. And so all these small market teams, they're going to be back on this treadmill of, drafting this kid that was in geometry class last week, and today he's, you're going to write him a check for, $5 million today.
It sucks for the small market teams. It's tough. It's tough for them, man. It's tough because
as a fan of two small market teams, I can tell you, what are we supposed to do?
It's tough. It's easy to stay the Cleveland Browns of basketball because you're a small market team. It's easy.
I tell you this all the time. I remember when I told you I was a Pacers fan, you laughed at me. And since then, I think the Pacers have pretty much just smacked around the LA Lakers as far as the on-the-court success. They've had a pretty good run. But if guys are, like I said, if guys are going to start turning down $200-something million, and you're going to have 4 teams that are any good in the league, they're all going to be in the biggest markets. And to me, they've got to do something about this because, in my opinion, they've got the world by the tail right now.
Yes, right.
The NBA has got the world by the tail. They've just got to grab it. Yeah. And I think Silver's on Mike what is it called now, Golic and Wingo the other day going, I don't know that there's anything we can do about this. Better come up with something, man, because you better come up with something because, like I said, I think that they've got everything. They've got the viewership and the fans in the palm of their hand right now.
That's right.
But we can't do it. We can't go. I can't take another Cavs Warriors NBA Finals next year.
But it's entertainment. It's entertainment.
That NBA Finals was entertaining?
No, well, I'm saying the bigger markets are more entertaining. The stars on one team is more entertaining. If LeBron had one more guy, if he has a Paul George, we just finishing up the finals because it went 7 instead of we're trying to figure out what to watch now because
he had Kyrie. He had Kyrie last year and got beaten 5. Look, I think they should. I think they should do away with the salary cap. They should do away.
I agree with that.
Do away with these max. Look, LeBron James is worth 5 times whatever his salary is. They said the Cleveland franchise is going to diminish in value by like $200-something million if he goes somewhere else,
and fall back to the super small market.
Right. There's a lot of things the NBA could do. I think Adam Silver's the best commissioner we have in sports.
I totally agree.
But I think for him to go, there's nothing we can do. I don't really know. Blah blah blah. I think he's missing out.
Change won't come on that, and I think in probably the next 3 years. But until then, guys are gonna team them up. The guys are gonna team up. They're gonna get with the friends. Guys want to win. The stars that haven't won, Mr. Kevin Durant, they're gonna go to a team and win. And
I heard somebody say the other day that they were expecting another cap spike within the next handful of years. I'm thinking, oh great, so the Warriors can go out and add LeBron James with the extra money that they'll get in another cap spike. It's unreal.
The rich gets richer.
It's unreal. Some folks who are not getting rich, the Charlotte Hornets. Trommell, they're dealing Kemba Walker tonight. I love the NBA draft. I love it, man. I've been waiting for this day for months. I don't know why. I think to me, I like it better than the NFL draft, but just because I'm a college basketball junkie.
Okay.
But are they dealing Kemba Walker tonight? Have we seen the end of Kemba Walker in the Queen City?
I hope so. I want to see the kid win. I know that sounds really bad, but Kemba Walker is another one of those stars that we won't get to really appreciate because of the market that he's in. They're not going to accompany him with the appropriate players to get him over that hump. Dwight Howard.
It's not that they won't; they can't.
Then you need to give this guy a chance.
They just traded for Timothy Mozgov.
Again, they need to give this guy a chance to win.
What are you trying to say?
Not enough at all. Kemba has been putting in a lot of work in Charlotte for years, and get a kid a chance to explore. Let him go. If you're gonna start over, start over. Let's.
They say Kemba to Cleveland at the trade deadline was, that was the deal.
I love that's a
that for whatever reason never came through. You ever play with the little trade simulator thing?
I do sometimes.
I was on there messing around today. Send Kemba to Cleveland for George Hill, either J.R. Smith, and it was somebody else. But for discussion's sake, we'll say George Hill and J.R. Smith, and the 8th pick for Kemba Walker.
I'll make that trade standing on my head.
If you're the Hornets, you're making that trade?
No. Well, if I'm the Hornets...
If you're the Hornets, you're not making that deal?
No, man, no. You're talking about Kemba, what is he averaging, 20? He's a 20 man. He's walking 20.
Hey, to me, he's a poor man's Kyrie Irving.
Absolutely. He's gonna get his 20 a night. Can change a game, but you're talking JR, George Hill, pedestrian.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that keeps Charlotte Hornets the Charlotte Hornets. You see what I'm saying? With the middle of the road kind of blue collar kind of guy.
I like that deal, and I'll tell you why. Because in Philadelphia, they went through something that no fan base should ever have to go through. Charlotte's already done that. That lockout season a few years ago, they won like 7 games. They were like 7-59 that year. All right, they were 28th in attendance last year. Charlotte cannot afford to go through a complete tear down, rebuild, trust the process scenario, because that place, we've talked about it here before, will be empty. But you make the trade, you make that deal. You bring in George Hill, all right?
Okay.
That keeps you, all right, stay with me now.
Okay, because I'm not saying.
All right, stay with me now.
I'm listening.
All right. He's a veteran point guard. He's under contract for 2 more years. J.R. Smith's under contract for 2 more years, okay?
Okay.
George Hill, 1, keeps you from just completely bottoming out. I mean, you're probably not going to win 40 games, but you're not going to win 12 games, whatever it was Philadelphia won a few years ago. You're going to be somewhere in, probably about what you are. If you're drafting 11th this year, you'll probably draft 8th next year. But that also turns George, that allows you to get the 8th pick and the 11th pick in this draft, and it allows you to flip George Hill, I think, maybe at this trade deadline, maybe at next year's trade deadline, for a team that feels like, okay, we want a veteran backup point guard to make a playoff push. And J.R. Smith, I mean, you got to have, the salaries that got to match. Smith is going to come off the books. I don't think his salary, all of, 2019 and 2020, I don't think it's all fully guaranteed. Like Mozgov, I don't think Mozgov's is all fully guaranteed 2 years from now. So you're going to free up some cap space a little bit by doing that. And like I said, it allows you to get something for Kemba Walker, because like I said, as it stands now, you should have traded him at the deadline, right? Every minute that goes by, you're getting less and less for this guy.
And you see how we're talking about the small market team with small market players. Mm-hmm. Kemba Walker's the big guy in this.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think that the Mozgov for Howard trade, maybe it was about a locker room. I think it was more about getting underneath that luxury tax. Because if you're gonna compete for a championship, we'll pay the luxury tax. But if you're gonna win 36 games, we're not paying the luxury tax.
Right.
So you got to get out of that. But like I said, it saves you some money. It gives you a trade piece down the road in George Hill.
But at pick 11, what game changer player are you getting at the 11th pick?
Well,
even at 8, now you're pushing it at the 8th pick. I mean, we're talking to be competitive, or are we talking total rebuilding? Which we're tanking a year.
No. I think if you trade Kemba Walker,
then
it's a total rebuild.
Okay,
it's a total rebuild. All right, we'll go through some of the mock drafts. You can get on NBA.com. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry has a mock draft out there. You can get on NBA.com, and they've got a consensus where they take 7 or 8 of the reputable guys out there, put theirs together. This is what they come up with. All right, no surprise at number 1, DeAndre Ayton. Right. No shocker there. Right. 2 is where it gets a little interesting. Most of them have Bagley. I think David Aldridge is holding out as Luka Doncic, but Bagley seems to be the pick at 2. And 3 is where it really gets interesting. the consensus here is on this is Luka Doncic. You heard Trae Young. Atlanta loved Trae Young 3 years ago. That Doncic, you heard the other day, he was kind of falling. One, I think that's a big mistake because I think that kid's going to be an NBA player for the next 15 years. But I wonder if this isn't just a little bit of a smoke screen. Maybe try and get somebody to come up and get Doncic is what you're hearing. At 4, it's got Jaren Jackson Jr. from Michigan State going to Memphis. Now, apparently Memphis is a place that no one wants to go. And I think Jackson and Mo Bamba both said, no, I'm not talking to you. No, you can't have my medical records. No. Nothing. I don't get it. But they got Jackson going 4 and Bamba at 5. To me, that's where I guess like I feel pretty confident that all 5 of those guys are going to be really, really big time NBA players. And you get to Porter at 6. He's got the back injuries, got the hip issues.
It's starting to get interesting.
I wouldn't touch him. Wendell Carter at 7 to Chicago. Like I said, some folks are saying that this is the guy, that this is the sleeper of the draft, that he wouldn't fall any further than this. He's been climbing the boards. I agree with their comparison to Al Horford. I think he was supposed to be the big man at Duke this year. Bagley reclassifies, comes in and kind of overshadows Carter a little bit, and all Carter did was keep his head down, do his work. Kind of reminded me of Noah and Horford at Florida a few years ago.
Play good ball.
Trae Young at 8
is the steal. If the Cavaliers,
Trae Young is the steal. He's the steal of the draft. You just said
to the Cavaliers.
Yeah,
you're talking that he can come in averaging 15. Easy. Okay.
I mean, he's got range. When he gets off the bus, he's in range.
So now you're giving LeBron a young Steph.
But
if
LeBron,
he stays. If he stays.
But LeBron doesn't like rookies.
Well, then you give it now.
He doesn't like rookies, which brings me to my point. You trade the Kemba Walker for this 8th pick. Now Charlotte gets a guy, in Trae Young who is drawing the Steph comparison. I don't buy it. I saw a lot of Trae Young in the first half of the season. And I saw a lot of Trae Young in the second half of their season. And there were 2 different Trae Youngs. Their team, they lost something like 10 or 11 games in a row. I mean, he dumped way. He dropped way down. I think folks are kind of just jumping on the fact that he can shoot the ball from anywhere on the floor.
Right.
But he's going to put butts in the seats, as Tony Schiavone says. And if you're Charlotte,
they need tickets.
That's what you need.
They need a ticket.
You need butts in the seats.
Hey, I think that's a good. Now that deal makes sense now, because now Charlotte gets something that they can really, a guy that can come in and make a difference right now. If Kemba is walking, you turn the keys over to this guy, and now you can bring in some max players. Now you can bring in some vets and kind of piece this thing together, and let's go play ball a little bit.
I say Trae Young, I'm not buying it. I'm really not.
You don't think he falls to 8?
I think he'll be there at 8 because I think somebody's going to trade up. I don't know if it's to get ahead of Dallas to get Mo Bamba, or if it's someone to try and come up and get Luka Doncic. I've got a hard time seeing Doncic fall past 3. I don't believe Atlanta would pass on him if they don't get a deal that they like to trade back with. I think that he'll be the pick there. But like I said, I saw a lot of Trae Young at the beginning, and I saw a lot of Trae Young at the end. And to me, once defense is kind of zoned in and said, "All right, you're all they got. I'm locking you down."
And that's easy for a defense to do. I'd love to see a Trae Young in.
Yeah, he's a shooter. Well, he's a shooter, and he struggles shooting the ball. I guess that's all that gets me. Colin Sexton at 9 to the Knicks. Sexton is a guy that I was kind of up and down on. I didn't realize that he scored almost 20 points a game last year. I didn't.
Very efficient. Very efficient. I think that I'm surprised he'll be there at 9. Really surprised he'd be there at 9. But
Colin Sexton to New York. I think that would be a dream set. I think Trae Young put Trae Young in New York, the league would love that. But Colin Sexton is not a bad fallback.
Right.
He's got to improve his shooting. but he's a good free throw shooter, and that's generally an indication that a guy can become a better shooter.
That's right.
At 10, I think this is one of the this is the most boring pick in the draft.
And that's classic Charlotte Hornets.
But Mikal Bridges from Villanova, he's a guy who stayed 3 years. He got better each year. He won 2 national championships. I think he's guy's just going to come in. He's not great at anything, but he's really good at a whole lot of things. Staying home for Philadelphia, I think that would be a big get for them. That brings us to the Charlotte Hornets at number 11. So let's say under our trade scenario where they can make the deal and you bring in a point guard, Trae Young or Colin Sexton. Here at number 11, it's got them taking Kevin Knox from Kentucky. Jalen Rose says that Kevin Knox is a steal of the draft. He says Knox is the steal of the draft. 6'9", he's gonna get bigger. He can shoot it a little bit. The first half of the year, you watched him. He was. I watched him and I was just like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
He looks. I don't want to say sleepy, but he looked a little disinterested. Put on the game from January where they go to West Virginia. West Virginia's beating them like a drum in the first half. Knox comes back, gives them Mountaineers. They're all about defense up there. Gives them 34. Kentucky goes out into West Virginia and gets the win. I mean, when he wants to, the kid can play.
He can play.
One other name that's getting mentioned a lot for the Hornets. I don't know how you pronounce his name. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This is the one. If they're going to take a point guard, if they're going to take a point guard at 11, and Sexton, Trae Young may. I've seen some mock drafts that's got him falling and being there, and they've got their choice between the three of them. This is one that I'm not crazy about.
No, me either. I mean,
I'm not crazy about him. He came on big late in the year, but he was coming off the bench to start with. If you're going to be the face of my franchise, when you walk into a college campus, I don't care how many 5-star kids you brought in,
you start.
You need to start,
That's
man.
Right.
You need to be that dude. So,
this draft is interesting. Again, I think it gets really compelling after pick 8.
I think there are a lot of good players.
Good players.
Colin Cowherd says he's not really big on this draft.
I'm not either.
I disagree. I love this. I think this draft is. I think this is. Last year's draft was really good. I think this year's draft is really good. They say next year's class isn't quite as strong. I think DeAndre Ayton and Marvin Bagley are both going to come in and give you 20 and 12 right off Jump Street. I'm not sure that Bagley shouldn't be getting more consideration for number 1, but both of those guys are going to come in. I guess my only deal about Bagley is his defense. I mean, he made Mike Krzyzewski basically just throw his hands up and have to go play zone defense, which never happens. So, but both those guys, like I said, are going to give you 20 and 12 right off Jump Street. Both of them can shoot the ball. I think DeAndre Ayton has got he wins the what do they call it, the all bus award, whatever it is. When you get off the bus, that's the guy that looks like the NBA player.
That's right.
And then with Doncic, Mo Bamba, Jaren Jackson, whose dad played for a long time in the NBA with the Spurs. Just saying, I love this draft, man. I think you've got 4 or 5 guys who are going to be. I think you've got 2 guys who I know are going to be stars. I think Doncic is going to be a star, if not just a really good. He's been playing pro basketball since he was 13.
And those guys always have a major advantage. They can play the Olympics early. They can play professional league where they are early. I mean, so competitively, he's ready.
I mean, when I was 13, I was playing with wrestling figures and
riding bikes
and trying to call the girl in my class on the telephone, and my man here is playing professional basketball with 30-year-old men in a country that's not even his home country, with a language that he doesn't speak. I don't think he'll have any problem adjusting to the NBA game.
I don't think he will.
We got a few minutes left. Give me a scenario tonight. Are we seeing? Are we going to see some deals made? You always hear about draft time. this team wants to come up, that team wants to come back, this player wants to, and then 9 times out of 10, nothing happens. Nothing happens.
I think Kemba Walker has a new home.
Somehow.
I hope he does. I hope.
So Walker gets dealt tonight.
I think Walker gets dealt tonight. I hope he does. I'm in that. I want that for him. I think he gets dealt tonight. I think Trae Young goes a lot earlier than people think. I think he goes a lot earlier than they think. He has a chip on his shoulder. I think he's in his feelings about this late pick type deal. So I think he's gonna make some noise. But we're gonna see. I'm excited to see it. Typically, I don't watch NBA draft as much, but I will tune in tonight just to make sure that my Lakers. You don't count out Magic now. Don't count out my Lakers for doing something interesting. Something interesting.
You aren't doing anything tonight.
Maybe not tonight.
You're not doing anything tonight. You can't afford. I mean, you can't afford to. You're held hostage right now.
I think we're looking at this free agency, and we really want to make some noise there. So it's gonna be. It'll just be a pleasure to watch these young men's lives change. For any draft that I watch, I just love the feeling of seeing the excitement of finally making it to a level that they've been playing for since you're talking elementary school for some of them. So I'm going to tune in just to see the emotions and the lives change for these guys. But I would love to see Kemba Walker go to a team that he can have a chance to compete for something. Now, if he goes to Cleveland, LeBron leaves, then he's back to the same small market and he just switched teams. I mean, but if LeBron stays...
I think if Cleveland does the deal, if they finally pull the trigger, because you can make the argument that they've kind of acquiesced to everything LeBron has said and wanted for the last few years, and you're probably right. Mm-hmm. But I believe if they bring Walker in, the reports are he wants Cleveland to give him a reason to stay, which tells me he doesn't really want to leave, but he's not coming back for this crap again.
Does Walker and Paul George make him stay?
I don't think Paul George goes.
No, well, Paul, you're right. He wants to LA. He wants to go
think
home.
Paul George. You hear in Oklahoma City is still a real possibility. Like he liked Oklahoma City more than he thought he would, more than we all think he did.
Who would want to come to Cleveland and play?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're not going to get a free agent, but if they make the deal for Kemba Walker tonight and give up the 8th pick, it's probably going to mean taking on Nick Batum's contract. Like I said, that's where you kind of get into having to make the numbers work. If Charlotte's going to deal him, I think they're going to want something for that. They're going to want to come out from underneath that Batum deal. But Batum, he got that deal a couple years ago because he was basically the second best player on the team that should have advanced to the second round of the Eastern playoffs that year.
Yeah, he earned
it. That player is still in there somewhere, and if nothing else, it's something different that you can go to, that Cleveland can go to LeBron with, and say, look, we're trying something. Because, like I said, I think it sounds like he kind of wants to stay.
It's home,
but he's not coming back for that same mess that he just did. I mean, he wants some help. He can't possibly perform at the level he did this year again next year. 100-something basketball games. He played more minutes than anybody in the league last year. He can't do it again.
No, he can't. And Kemba gives him another scorer. Kemba, Love, and LeBron.
I see it, and now
somebody else. Somebody else is coming.
Well, like I said, if you get Nick Batum to just not be terrible, which he was pretty much all year last year in Charlotte, if he's just not terrible, and he halfway earns some of the money he's getting paid every year, it's not a bad team, man. Now, is it good enough to beat the Warriors? Probably not. But I don't know that short of getting to handpick 5 guys from around the league, that you're going to make a team. But I think that's probably as good as you're going to do. I think it's probably as good or better than whatever team he would put together in L.A.
L.A. is just a different beast, though.
But I'm just talking about on the court. I think that's Kemba Walker will run out of time. Kemba Walker or Lonzo Ball? Kemba Walker.
Yeah. But Lonzo's out the door if LeBron's coming. LeBron's not dealing with LeVar.
Nah, I don't think so either.
No.
I don't think so either.
No, ball's gone if LeBron goes.
All right, guys, that's it. Tune in. We're going to talk about Jimmy Johnson. Is the ice finally thawed in Dallas? We'll see. Maybe.